have to happen over what? Time.
Hey guys. So, just quick, this video, what I learned about credit. Now, when I was in high school, I remember it was like a recruiter, like a military recruiter, army recruiter came to the school, and they were talking about the careers at the army and stuff like that. And I wasn't really interested, but he was giving out like pamphlets. He was giving out different plans. I think I was in like the 10th grade, 11th grade, I remember. And he was giving out pamphlets on, becoming, soldier in the army, and they had all these incentives and all this stuff, right? And I remember him saying that they help with credit. I remember him saying that. I remember him saying that, in order to, have a successful financial life, you need to have good credit. Now, in 10th grade, especially if you never heard this, my mom never talked about credit. My dad never talked about credit. My grandparents never talked about credit. Aunts and uncles, they never talked about credit. Friends never talked about credit. So he was basically like the first person that I heard talk about credit. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That was my response to it. And I had the pamphlet and it was going over the stuff. Yeah, so my first encounter, guys, with credit, remembering, maybe my mom said it when I was 5 years old or something, but what I remember was in 10th grade when a soldier from the army came to recruit us or tell us about it, and he said something about credit. Now, it didn't really dawn on me about credit until I got my first job. Not even in college, because college, really, honestly, you don't even need good credit. Bad credit, you don't even need no credit to get a student loan, which is the fucking craziest, vicious thing on the planet. They let people borrow money and you don't even need a credit score. So that showed me that credit is really bullshit, for real, right? As I look back. So you don't even need good credit, you don't need bad credit, you don't even need no credit to, as a student, to get a student loan. Okay? Period, all right? So what I've learned over the years, because even when I got into business, I didn't even learn nothing about credit. Like I said, it wasn't until I got my first job and I wanted to get me a car. When I went to the car dealership and they was like, oh, your credit score is 546. I said, okay, well, good. I think it's good. I didn't know. I thought it was a good score. So I said, okay, well, I want to get this car. And he was like, well, you can't with this kind of credit score. You have to build your credit up. Or you would have to put some money down. And he said, if you don't put money down, your interest rate will be higher. But if you do put money down, your down payment, your monthly payments will be lower. So I said, okay, I don't want to put any money down, right? So I didn't realize that, if I put money towards, the payment or the principal or whatever, that it would make it lower and, that, it'd help my credit score. I didn't realize that, right? So I didn't put anything down. They let me kid off the lot. I think I was paying like $400 or $500 a month for a Toyota Camry, 2008. Now, I was happy. I was good. I was like, oh, I got me a new car. Me and my daughter could ride around in style now. Like, I felt good, right, about it. But the next encounter that I had with credit was when I didn't want that car anymore. I think it was like 4 or 5 years later. And I didn't want that car anymore. And I wanted to get another car. So I went to the dealership and I told them, I want, another car or whatever. And he was like, well, you need at least $5,000 down, $10,000 down, plus you need a credit score in the 600s. My credit was still messed up because the credit, the payments that I was making on that car note, I was late. I was late all the time on it, right? So I really wasn't paying attention to credit at all. Like, I wasn't even thinking about credit. I just went to the car lot and just got me a car without paying anything on it. So I'm just going to pay my car note whenever I can, whenever it is. So I went to the next car dealership. I think I wanted to get a Nissan. And he said, you need at least $5,000 down. You need your credit score to be at least 600. So he ran the credit score. My credit still was in like the 500s. And I'm like, well, listen, I just want a new car. Like, what I'm saying? Whatever y'all talk about this credit shit, I don't give a fuck about this credit shit. Like, for real. Like, y'all can just give me a new car. So he said, being that, my credit's bad, I'm not putting a down payment, the car that I bought previously was the Toyota Camry I bought, 2008, brand new. He said, being that I bought this and I have an upside down payment now. So I said, what does that mean? He said, so now if you trade the car in, you'll still have like a $9,000 payment that they would embed into the new car. So now I got to keep paying. So now I literally got to keep paying for the old car into the new car. So I'm like, that shit don't make no sense. Why can't I just get me a new car? Like, for real, when you're ignorant, like, you really truly don't know, right? So I'm like, why can't I just get a new car? I don't want to embed the payment. He said, well, you have to put $9,000 down. I didn't want to put $9,000 down. And the reality is, I ain't even have $9,000 to put down. So what happened was I ended up getting a Nissan. They end up putting that Nissan, that $9,000 into the Nissan. So now my payment was higher. So I'm thinking, I'm getting a new car. I'm doing fine. Now I get a new car. Now the new car, I'm paying way more, like $10,000 more, right? And when you're not financially educated, and this is why I'm an advocate, and I will be an advocate for financial education until I die, till I'm old and my dentures is falling out, for real. Okay, because now that $9,000 had to be embedded into the car payment of the new car. And, I said to the guy, I said, well, do people do this? He said, people do this all day long. I said, well, people do this all day long. Like, okay, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do it too. If people do it all day long, obviously this is what works, then do it. It wasn't until I got fired from my job and I had to downgrade. Right. It wasn't until I got fired from my job about 2011, 2012, when I got fired from my job and I had to downgrade. And I literally went and gave the car back myself. Like, I went to the Nissan and was like, here, take my car, because I can no longer afford these $500 payments plus $200 insurance. That was like $700. I was on unemployment, so I could not, literally, guys, afford to even, have that type of car. So I went and I dropped it off, and I thought, my payment was done. I was like, shit, I ain't got no more payment. I'm good. So my husband, he had like a truck, so I was driving that around. So he already paid that off. A year later, no lie. This was maybe 2013, 2014. No lie. I get a bill for like $8,000, $7,000. And I'm like, okay, why the fuck am I getting a bill for $8,000, $7,000? So I call up Nissan, and they was like, oh, remember when you gave us the car back? You still owe money. I was like, well, nobody told me that. Like, who tells you these kind of things? Nobody told me. So now I got this bill. Now I'm like, I don't want to pay this fucking bill off. Now this is affecting my credit. So now I'm starting to say, it might be something to this credit thing, right? This was in 2013. And I was in business, and I wasn't making money, and ain't nobody was telling me nothing about credit. So I'm like, maybe it's something to this credit thing. Let me start looking into it. So I printed out my free credit report. I think my CPA told me about credit report. I think like a creditreport.com or whatever. And I printed out my free credit report, and I saw my credit was like 518. I was like, oh, wow. So I started researching. I started to see that 518 is a horrible credit score. You need at least 650 or 680 to be in like good standards. I'm like, well, damn, how do I get my credit up? And even then, I still didn't take it seriously enough, because now I'm on unemployment, so I'm not really trying to get nothing. I ain't trying to get no house. I ain't trying to get another car. So I really wasn't taking it too serious because I needed money. So I wasn't really focused on it. Fast forward, right? Now I get mentors that are focused on solely credit, right? I hired her. I paid her, I think in like 2015, 2016, I paid her like $5,000. I sat down with her for 5 hours, and she broke everything down to me. She was like, you got to get your credit right. So now this is when I started looking more, into the credit and understanding the credit. Now, when I really started focusing on my credit is when I met Jay Morrison 2 years ago. Okay. Also got into Myecon, met Jay Morrison. I bought a couple books on credit from Real Roundtree, bought some of their books, and literally they was talking about how credit makes people rich. Wealthy people leverage their credit all day long. And I'm like, well, why the fuck nobody told me this? Why nobody said anything about, having, good credit? I never heard my mom say nothing about having, good credit, leveraging, none of this shit. So I felt like, well, is this a secret? Like, for real, is this a secret? And I talked to one of his consultants, and he was like, no, this is not a secret. It's just information that we were not privy to. So it just helped me to want to pursue understanding credit, right? And I saw Myecon a couple years before, and I said, I don't want to do no credit business. Now I'm in the credit business, right? And I understand it now because now I done got my credit score to 700. I paid off stuff that I needed to pay off, and now I understand the utilization. And now I got access to over $100,000 in line of credit because I was able, right, to build up my credit. Now I have credit for like the last 12 years, right? So I already had credit, so I means, I already, established credit. And the only thing that was hindering me was a Macy's bill, the Nissan bill, and my student loan. Thank God I got rid of all of that stuff. So by default, your credit score goes up when you have access to lines of credit and when you also have high credit limits, but you keep your balances low. This is why it's so critical, guys, that you do have high balances on your credit cards and your credit limits, but you're keeping it low. So if I got access to 100,000, I got a high ass credit limit, but but what am I using is less than $10,000, right? And I'm supposed to be at 30 grand, right? So it's less than $10,000. So now when I apply for a house, now when I apply for a car, I can literally put 0% down with low interest rates, right? See, I didn't know that. Over time, people that have bad credit, over time, you end up being broke for the stuff that you have bought because you end up paying way more. Meanwhile, people that got good credit, low interest rate, they end up paying less. So the same car, right? The same car, person with bad credit ends up paying more. A person with good credit ends up paying less, right? So it was so many things that I started having like aha moments about. I was like, well, damn, I should have been tapping into credit. I should have been getting lines of credit. I should have been building businesses. I should have been doing this shit, right? I could actually be further along if I would have knew this stuff 5 years ago. But again, timing is always, the whole factor in life. People wait to 55 and broke and bad health to decide they want to do something, right? So thank God I didn't wait that far. And thank God that I had people in my life like Jay Morrison. I'm listening to one of his courses now. That I had mentors, like Tiana, that I was able to hire because she knew about, credit, and she knew about positioning, she knew about time, and she knew about, being able to leverage and make money. So all my mentors that I hire, they're millionaires, right? So I don't want to really, I really want to focus on getting to the top, right? So in order to get to the top, my mind got to be at the top first. And then, of course, I need the money. Right? You can't get to the top being broke because ain't nobody going to respect you. Right? So now I'm more focused on credit. Now I'm more focused on, building wealth. Now I'm more focused on legacy. So you guys that follow me, that's what I talk about now. All I'm talking about is building wealth, positioning yourself, getting access to money. That's why I decided to be a part of a company that also allows us to get access to financing. Because if I know that building wealth comes from you having good credit and having access to lines of credit and having high limits, why not be a part of a company? Most of my clients are getting access to $50,000. Right now, I'm helping them with their credit, helping them build their credit, restore, repair, right, their credit, and then access into lines of credit so they can now go build their business. It's the craziest thing, guys, the shit that we don't know that costs us so much money. And as you get older, or as we get older, we get broker and 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 broker. And no one says, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I need to find a mentor. I need to find someone that I can pay to sit down with, where I know they're going to give me the game. See, Tiana gave me the game. I paid the lady $5,000 for 90 days. Sat down with her. I went to her loft in Jersey, sat down with the lady. Jay, right? Jay, I had to pay how much money? Right? Because he got different programs. He got a yearly program that I had to literally go, and talk to, one of his advisors on the phone so I can understand this. I had to sit down for 30 minutes a day and read this book so that I can get the knowledge. I'm telling you guys, if we would have learned this in school, okay, if we would have learned this in school, if we would have learned this in school as children, all of us would have an extra $1 million right now. We would have an extra, access to unlimited credit right now. But unfortunately, I signed up for one, but couldn't pay for it yet. But unfortunately, guys, money makes us powerless. Okay? Who asked me to cook something for today? Money gives us power. And the powers that be know that money gives us power. So why would the powers that be say, let's give all these people all this power? Because that makes them powerless. And I teach my kids this. Money makes you powerful. When you have money, you feel good. You feel happy, right? You're not stressed. You don't have anxiety. Because most people that have anxiety and stressed out, guess what? They don't have money, or they have bad health. They don't have money, or they have bad health, guys. So that's what I learned about credit. That's exactly what I learned about credit over the years. So now I'm an advocate. I am an advocate to help other people restore, rebuild, and fix their credit. But what I'm also finding is that people want to get rich quick. They've been broke their whole life, so they want to get rich quick. But the problem with getting rich quick, guys, you got to understand credit. You got to understand finance. You got to understand investing in yourself, right? No rich person but Donald Trump, got rich by default, right? You get rich by doing the things that's needed to be done. You invest in yourself. You go to events. You go, you buy courses. You hire mentors. You go to events. I got my team right now. I was just drilling them just now. Like, y'all need to go to these events. Okay, y'all need to get to events. If y'all not going to events, how the fuck do you expect to succeed? How the fuck can you succeed just being around a bunch of fucking broke co-workers who complaining about, paying for, their baby's birthday party? Right? So again, right now I became an advocate for financial education. Thank God I have a company that I'm a part of that also allows me to live out one of my passions, which is now talking about money and finance. So again, I can't be at a job talking about wealth and building a legacy, because a job doesn't cut it, right? So I got to be the example. I got to be the model so that you can say, you know what? If Tanisha's doing it, I can do it too. So that's what I learned about credit. It's hot as a motherfucker. That's what I learned about credit. Accessing credit, lines of credit. So now I'm in position to buy or get anything I want. So me and my husband right now, we're looking for another home. Right? The one we have, we may rent out. The other one, we're going to live in. We're looking for another home. Guess what? Interest rates are already low. Ain't that something? Interest rates are already low. So we can actually get lower interest rates. Okay? The banks want to lend people money now because guess what? The banks done fucked up. They've been printing money, and now they're fucked. So they need people to borrow money. And I'm so happy, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so lucky that I've been doing the work for 2 years, building myself, building my credit. So now when I go to the bank, it ain't got no problem. I ain't got to worry about, I don't know if I'm going to get approved. I know I'm going to get approved. I'm walking in the bank confident, right? If I want to get another car, I know I can walk off the lot, right, with a low interest rate. So again, financial education, guys, is what's going to help us to become financially independent and allow us to achieve financial freedom. Because I know people that make millions of dollars, but they ain't never got no time to spend with their family. They ain't never got no time to go out to eat with their family. That is not financial independence. Financial independence is here where you have time and money together. That's why building a business is so key, right? Right now, I got my daughter working for me. She's sourcing items in my Amazon store right now, and I pay her. So instead of me saying, oh, go look for a job, no, you can work for me. So when you get tired of working for me or whatever, you go look for you a job or you go to school and you find your own career path, right? But at the end of the day, guys, guess what? I'm in position to help a lot of people win. I am in position to help a lot of people win. Are you? Because here's the reality for real. When God comes and God, decides to, kill this earth, all God wants to know is, Tanisha, because of you, because of what I helped you do in your life, how many people were you able to help? That's all God want to know. He don't give a fuck about how many clothes I got, how much cars I got, how much money I got in the bank. God gonna say, Tanisha, what I helped you with and what I helped you do, what did you do for other people? That's all He's gonna be interested in. He don't give a fuck about nothing else. God's interested in saving souls. So when people look at Tanisha, they gotta say, you know what? Tanisha is of God. I'm not like a spiritual person. I don't go to church and all that. But people look, all same thing. So when people look at you, people got to say, oh yeah, that person is glowing. That person is not stressed out. That person is good, right? I see people all the time, they all stressed out and shit. You're not of God, trust me. God is not of stress, anxiety, and depression. God is of abundance and prosperity and getting rich and unity. Health, wealth, love, and happiness, guys, is all that matters in life. And if you're not working on all those things simultaneously, guys, you will work a job until you freaking die. And you will never find a spouse that also is in alignment with you. You can't be trying to get rich and your spouse always talk about being broke. No, I helped my husband change his mindset. He got 2 businesses now. He ain't never had a business. Now he see my wife rocking like, yo, my wife is inspiring me. Guess what? Now he got a business. Now he has extra income. So when it's time to go out the country, ain't nobody strapped for money. We all just making shit happen. So again, guys, are you in position to help others win? Or are you positioning yourself to build wealth for your family? You gotta make a decision, guys. You have to make a decision. We're not gonna be here forever. So while I'm here, I'd rather make a difference. I'd rather make an impact while making an income. So go to mymoneymatters.today. See you soon.